Evening. I am down here in Big South Fork again. We are at, if you remember last year where Papaw in the Woods and Carrie Wilbright and I came down, we went as far as the No Business School. And we opted not to cross No Business Creek. Well, that's where I am at the moment. We crossed the creek. We've got ourselves a camp set up. I am joined again with Papaw in the Woods and his friend Aron and Aron's dog RJ. I will show you around here after a little bit. I just wanted to finally make an intro. We've been down. We met up earlier this morning. Torrential rains. I think I may have lost the camera again. So we've been tromping around. I was smart enough to put most of my stuff in the middle of my pack, and it was all stuff that I had filmed before. Going through Mod's Crack with a full pack and a lot of mud was pretty interesting. And tracing around No Business Road to get to here was equally as interesting. It's getting to be twilightish. No more chance of rain threats, and so we're gonna finish getting our camp established. Probably won't do much filming of any kind tonight. Tomorrow we'll be tromping around. We're looking for Peter Burke's grave. We're looking for a Ike Miller's home site, which also was a Peter Burke cabin when it was on the Big South Fork River. Before he had it disassembled, floated down the river, and then reassembled once you got up here to No Business area. And a few other historic sites on the lower end of No Business. So let me help these guys get find some dry firewood and get our evening started. If there's any daylight left, I might come back to you, and if not, we'll pick this up tomorrow as we start adventuring.
It's not going to go out. It's got a little bed going.
So here is my little setup. And over here in black is Papaw. And the little green tent is Aron and RJ. Just took a quick break to film this, but trying to get a fire started in wet wood. And the very high and slightly stained No Business Creek. Good morning. We've been up probably about an hour, I guess. It's drizzled most of the night, so trying to get a fire re-established now. Get some breakfast. Slept pretty well. Stayed dry. Not terribly cold. I think tonight's supposed to be down into the mid-30s, so it's going to be a little cooler. It's supposed to be a sunny day today. I'm hoping that holds true. But going to get ourselves some breakfast. Aron's got him a nice little French coffee press, so he's making us all a cup of coffee, and we'll get our adventure started here pretty soon.
French press. We're making coffee in the woods.
Yeah.
So what I did was I put my grounds in there. A lot of grounds. Just look how thick, how many grounds are in there.
Oh God, that looks like a milk can.
Yeah. And then you put the lid on and let it set for a few minutes. Let the hot water soak it real good.
Yeah.
Then I slowly push that down. Then pour the coffee out of here. And then I need to get some more hot water boiling so we can see if you make it real concentrated. You can make more coffee. because you can pour some in each cup and water it down. And you make it just as strong as you like.
Okay, so Papaw and I are underway. Aron and PJ have decided to stick around camp, do some camp chores and whatnot. So we just forded No Business Creek again for the third time this trip already. And it is down about a foot since yesterday. So it's probably about mid-shin. Gonna start off. We are back at the old school site for the most part. It's off to the right just a little bit on top of that flat spot where the road is. And we're going to head back to where we came from yesterday. No packs really, just a little day pack. And look for a couple old cemeteries. Hopefully a few old home sites. And whatever else wants to make itself known to us. Okay, so we got our shoes changed back out. I'm not going to spend too much time walking around in water shoes today like yesterday. That road takes you up into Kentucky. Up there is where the old school site was. I showed you that in another video. And this new thing that we found right here at the signs, right beside Papaw, is this little bucket that we've probably walked by a good 3 or 4 times now and not ever seen it before. Sorry, I'm trying to juggle an awful lot of things in my hand, sorry. But it's funny how things just present themselves. You walk by it and you haven't seen it before, and it obviously has been there longer than you have. Okay, I lied to you. We were at the school site. Papaw had a promise to take some pictures for a person he knows. Found this little stream. You can't see the other one from where I'm standing, but there's 2 or 3 little cascading waterfalls coming out of it. That's kind of neat. I guess I will show you the school again. So right there by Papaw, there's a corner. Stacked stones. And
The thing I've read, there was a spring right behind the pool, and that would be...
yeah, there's another set of stacked stones making the front foundations. Okay, we are on this really kind of an open area. Some new growth trees just barely shooting up and just a few other ones, so it's obvious that this was a very clear area not too long ago. There's a little No Business Creek down there, and right up in there you can just barely see it is the road, and we're not too far past the school site. But we're hunting for Francis Miller home site and barn. Home is supposed to be on one side of No Business Road and the barn on the other. And here we are. We have found an old fireplace and chimney toppled over and some rocks. So we believe this to be it right here, the Francis Miller home site. So it's my understanding Francis Miller bought the old Burt cabin, which used to be on the Big South Fork River. I disassembled it and floated the logs down here to No Business Creek, and then reassembled it, we think, right there. He and his son had a grist mill, which is really close to the house too, on the side of the creek that we are camped on. So we are now going to head down towards the creek bottom and see if we can't discover sights of that. Nicely beat down path through the woods, taking us towards the creek bottom. Could be a good deer trail. Could be a good deer trail. Could be an old footpath. I don't know. Okay, we're back here at No Business Creek. Nicely cut out piece of rock slab. Almost makes you think you could have ridged across here. I don't think it was, but just gives you that imagination. But there is right here an awful lot of stacked stone. Obviously a big clearing on the other side of the creek where we're camped on, so I have to come down and check this out this afternoon too. Could be where the grist mill was. So right there where Papaw is pointing, I am standing on another stack of stones just like what's across the river, and he's found a cable running through the creek. So we're thinking that there is probably a suspension bridge right here on this spot, crossing the creek. Maybe, I'm speculating now, maybe going to the grist mill over there on the field. I don't know. But at least here was a former crossing. Somebody's fire rang in the river, or the creek, I'm sorry. I understand why they would want to camp here. Old fencing. Yeah, wish we would have found this spot yesterday. It would have been a nice spot to have camped. Long way to get water though. Yeah. We have worked our way back on to No Business Road. That field down off to the left is pretty briar infested now, so the rocky, muddy, horse tore up road is surprisingly the better choice. So we're going to keep heading on and show you some new discoveries as we find them. So here's a spot we found yesterday. We've walked by this a time or two before. It's an old house site, some kind of foundation, wash bucket. Pretty cool. And
Possibly live here. So I showed it quite a bit yesterday. I'm not going to dwell.
so that is Burke's Knob. It is on the other side of No Business Creek from where we're at. And we're going to have to cross the creek, probably right in here as best as we can find a fording place. We are looking now for the gravesite of Peter Burke. Yep. We have just crossed No Business again for, I lost count of times. And here is this stone retaining wall we just noticed. We're still on the look for Peter Burke's grave, but I think we're pretty close to it now. Pretty neat. Yeah, so we just walked over this and then looked back and look at this one here. That's another section of the stone wall, probably retaining the hillside from flood. Pretty cool, huh? Well, GPS took us to the gravesite pretty well. It was only off by 50 or 60 feet, so we spent a while looking for it. Not sure if it's the grave we were really looking for or not, because I don't know about the name. But this is it. And over here, I lost it. Mother stone, footstone, and the father footstone. Okay, this thing's just too cool. So we found this tree closer to center screen, and I'm really thinking that's the taproot that has exposed itself to the tree. That is one of the coolest things, isn't it? Just that is something else. Now, water shoes on again. We are fixing to cross No Business again. Head back to camp. We've had a pretty good day. A lot of cool discoveries. A bust on No Business Cemetery. I can't remember exactly where I found the coordinates for it at, but we couldn't find it if it was there anymore, or if the coordinates were right, one of the two. We're heading back to camp. We want to check out something else close to the school site. So, I'm going to cross the creek again. Oh, check out that big stone wall. Isn't that pretty cool? And then head back towards camp, the school site. Check out the little site we want to find there. And then cross the creek again. Okay, so we are heading back towards the school site and our campsite on No Business Road. And we were looking for a spot where a barn was built close to the road so you can have easy access. So we don't know if this is it or not, but it's pretty impressive anyhow, and it's worth showing you. So right here is a little runoff channel where the water comes off, but look at this stone wall. And the water runoff still can go on down. There's nothing else road-wise or anything that looks like you could have backed a wagon or anything up to it, but that wall's pretty cool. Now, we are just past the school and the little spring. We're looking for one last site, a home that was built by Francis Miller. It had Millers, Burks, Davis's kids all living in it over time. Apparently we've got PJ a little spooked. Our camp is just on the other side of the creek, so we will be crossing that again here soon. Not finding a whole lot other than this, looks like an old road trace just behind this big log. It just kind of comes back that way. I'm not seeing much signs of old house or anything. Been a pretty good day though. Really enjoyed ourselves. Sun finally came out, so hopefully things will dry. Gonna head on back to camp here soon. I skipped lunch and oh, here comes Papaw. And gonna probably double up on my dinner. I am hungry. Morning. This is pretty much ending our trip out here for this time around. Just finished up some breakfast. Aaron and PJ are still asleep, but I'm going to start breaking my camp here soon. We're going to hike out of here in a new way to me. Some places that I haven't been to yet, so Probably be able to show you some new stuff along the way back to the truck, but for the most part, it's just we're going to be tearing down camp and then hiking back to the parking lot. That's probably 3 or 4 miles. So it's been a pretty good little trip. Found some new things, missed out on a couple, but that just gives you another reason to come back again next time. So had some pretty good fellowship, minus a little bit of the rain at the very beginning. It's been pretty good. Probably low 30s right now, a little chilly, but should turn out to be a decent day on the way out anyhow, I hope. So new things come along, I'll break out the camera and show you what we see, and see you here in a little bit. Alrighty, we are just about unpacked back up. I'm sorry, I was going to say unpacked, and that was yesterday. Fixing to head back out. If I seem kind of rushed, I apologize. I was just doing the math, and probably 4 hours of hiking and then 5 hours of driving, and I have to work tomorrow, so I'm kind of rushed. But it's been a really good trip. Met some new people. I really enjoyed their company. Had some pretty good sightings yesterday. Hope to see a few more new things today as I'm on my way out of here. But for right now, I'm just going to kind of wrap all this up until we get underway. I'm not going to film much for that. I'm going to be rushed for time. So when we get to something cool, I'll bring the cameras back out. But otherwise, we're just about done here.
We're sweet spot about 12 to 1,600 feet elevation when we get to that.
Okay, you can't see it, but just past Aron and PJ there is where No Business finally meets the Big South Fork. Directly ahead of us is Big Island. You can kind of see it right here with the pretty red leaves. And Papaw. We are going to head here to the right. And there it is, just a little bit better view. Right here, where these reeds and rushes are. It's the end of No Business and meeting the Big South Fork. Okay, we think we are at the site of, I'm going to get some of these names mixed up, so forgive me if I get them wrong. A Burke cabin. It was on this site that a cabin stood during the Civil War, and there was a skirmish, now called the Duck Shoals Skirmish, where some Confederate soldiers were killed and then buried close to the river in a grave unknown. But it was at this home, which later got dismantled, floated down the river, and rebuilt by Francis Miller at No Business. We were there yesterday. But so there's a big pile of rocks here. Could be from a chimney or part of a foundation stones. There is another big pile of rocks here, and there's one more. Yeah, I thought I seen one when I was coming up the hill, but I don't guess so now. And this little place almost looks like man flattened out, if that makes sense. And you can hear the river down below us. So it's a pretty good find. Not that it's overly evident, but enough that we're satisfied we found the cabin site.
To me, that's another massive mistake.
And now up the mountain. Okay, we really don't have any way of knowing. We found this just down from the home site, and the trail switched to the Sheltowee Trace up the mountain. We found this big rock pile here. A lot of what rocks we do see kind of are squared off, but there's too hard to say if they don't look stacked, but it does look like it was intentionally put here. This could be that Confederate grave. Like I said, we don't know, and any information we did have said that the gravesite was unknown also. But anyhow, it's not too far from the cabin site. It could be, don't really know. Interesting, just the same. And we are gonna head on out of here. Papaw just found this little window. Excuse me, I'm trying to do all this one-handed. Look at that little cute thing. Okay, so you can't see it, but right behind me in that big sunny spot is a really big bluff. So we're going off trail for just a few minutes to check that out. It's an area called Yellow Cliff. Nothing I've been to before. Should be pretty interesting. I'm told there's a nice rock house up there and stuff. It's not very far off trail. We're almost back to Mott's Crack, so this whole day is really about done. And I'm not going to say anything else after Mott's Crack. I'm just going to hike it to the car and go. But this is probably my last good stopping point on this trip. Oh, isn't this cool? A nice rock house back here too. That's pretty cool.
I say this, they dug out around the back and brought their boat out here and see if we drew it. But you never know, that was way still under the underhang.
So that was pretty neat. And I'm going to end this video here. It's getting pretty late in the afternoon. So my goal is just to get to the car. And so I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. And we'll see you next time.